I don't think we're going to forget when it comes back. Who would have thought that Jax and Kristen? I mean, this just goes to show you Jax and Kristen and Brittany and Stassi were fired. They were fired. Now let's talk about Stassi for a minute. I mean, this is Ariana. This will be Ariana in 6 months, especially. When you think of Stassi Schroeder, I don't know. I mean, I know you guys think of Vanderpump Rules, and of course we do, but not really. She has really, truly built a brand outside of this show. Now she's going to be on Vanderpump Villa, has a Hulu deal to have her own show, Straight Up Stassi, has written more books after a quote unquote being canceled that, I mean, all did well, has $1 million podcast deal. I forgot where she's going. Sarah told me, but she's got $1 million to do a podcast. So Stassi has a real brand, and it's a brand with her husband and her children and her friends. That's how you do it. So who would have thought when she got fired from Vanderpump Rules that she would be such a winner in this game? Now let's talk about Jax and Kristen. Go listen to my 2-part episode with Jax. Jax was trying to get recorded before Scandal. Jax was trying to get some show off the ground about him being a daddy and living in the valley and showing how he doesn't go out and doesn't slut around anymore and doesn't drink anymore. Now, little did we know he does all those things, and that's why he's getting a divorce. Although there's a lot of reasons why they're getting a divorce. But who would have thought that? I mean, he was trying to get the Valley off the ground for years and years and years, and nobody wanted it. Scandal happens, and we have the Valley. And that's no knock to Jax. It's very, very, very hard when you are on a show and you are a known quantity to get another show. It's really hard. It's easier when you're unknown because we can give you a show and we can develop you. But when you're known for something, yes, I'm not talking about Celebrity Big Brother, Dancing with the Stars. I'm not talking about villains. I'm not talking about Traitors. I'm talking about an actual show. I mean, you go on Traitors for one season, you get paid money. Great. Do I think Lala and Schwartz and Katie and all these people could be used in these shows? Of course they could. Not guaranteed, but sure. But that's not a career path. A career path is another show. So it's really hard when you're known for one. So when Jax was talking about this show, about him being a daddy in the Valley with all his dad friends, I'm like, no one is ever going to pick this show up because you're Jax Taylor and you're known from Vanderpump Rules. Scandal happened. So I still think that the Valley got picked up because of Scandal. But I think the two biggest comebacks in reality TV Bravo history that I can think of, I'm sure there's more. I put Jax and Tamra. I mean, I talked to Tamra. I just shared that episode recently too. The year she was gone, I mean, Tamra was down. People are like, I listened to your interview with Tamra and I like her. She was down and out, humble, respectful, just like this is your future, girl. No more housewives. You got to figure out who you are. She was a different Tamra. Now she came back and she's not going anywhere. I know you guys don't like her. She's the rat that scurries, and we withheld Gouda from her all season. We're going to give her a little Gouda now. She behaved herself at the reunion. But she still has the beady eyes. But the rat that scurries, that is Tamra, is coming back next season. She's going to be scurrying all around. So Tamra had a great comeback and Jax had a great comeback. I mean, the Valley is a real thing. So who would have thought? It just shows you. So I wouldn't count out these people, Lala and Kristen. I wouldn't count out all these. I mean, Lala and Katie. I wouldn't count them all out. Look, I never would have thought Jax and Kristen would be the winners once all this happened. I bet you Jax and Kristen are just a little bit happy. Kristen just announced that she's pregnant. You mean to tell me the show that you were fired from by Bravo, that you watched go on successfully without you, that you watched have one of the biggest things in reality TV history? Scandal is one of the biggest things in reality TV history. We had everybody around the world talking about Scandal. You mean to tell me when you're Jax or you're Brittany or you're Kristen and you're not on the show and everyone else is getting a huge pay increase before the Valley, you mean to tell me that you're not a little bit happy? Human nature. We can't, let's be honest with ourselves, buy a mirror and hold it up. You mean to tell me you're not a little bit happy that Vanderpump is over and the Valley is in season 2? And let me tell you something. The Valley, season 3, 4, 5. We have years and years. That's the thing about a reset. If it's done right, we have years ahead of us. It doesn't even matter if next season of The Valley is lower rated than the first season. There's a clear, I don't know who Janet really is. I don't know who Zach is. I mean, Jesse and Michelle. I mean, yeah, Jesse, Lally, and Michelle are getting a divorce. And I mean, he seems crazy and she seems crazy and she's dating this guy who walks down the hill every day and has lunch with her at Chateau Marmont. I mean, and don't even get me started on Jax and Brittany, and now Doute is pregnant. There's so much there for the Valley. The unknown is more interesting than characters that we know what's going to happen. So I find the Valley to be a success. And who would have ever thought that Kristen and Jax would be the ones, that are like, wow, we have a future here, and the others don't. Now, let's talk about people that are on the Valley. Scheana's going to be on the Valley. Brock is going to be on the Valley. Lala and Schwartz. I don't think we're going to stunt cast now. I don't think we need it. And by the way, just because they're there, how much were they paid? They're not series regulars. How much were they paid? Did they go on the cast trip? I think they didn't, if I remember correctly. But how much were they paid? So just because you see someone, I mean, everyone, oh, it's great to go be the bartender at Watch What Happens. I ain't taking that away from you. But how much were you paid for that? You host a panel at BravoCon. Oh, great. How much were you paid for that? You have a live show every night. How much were you like? It comes down to how much were they paid. I think, Sarah asked me last night off the air, who do I think has the most likely chance of getting on the Valley full time? I think any of them, if it's organic. Jack's living next to Schwartzy. I would have said Scheana just because I feel Scheana hangs out with them the most. Lala probably does too. And obviously, if Scheana comes, then Brock comes. But I mean, Jax living next to Schwartzy might be the best thing that ever happened to Schwartzy because it's natural that Jax is going to wake up and his next door neighbor is going to be Schwartzy, and we're going to show Schwartzy. So I think this next season of The Valley and how people react is going to be very crucial to do we add Schwartzy, Scheana, or Lala full time. I don't think we're going to stunt cast the way I referred to stunt casting in Chicago. I don't think we need it. I think the Valley has enough legs. And I think the longevity of a series, you want to learn about the new characters. You don't want to cloud it with like the Schwartzes and the Lalas and the Sheenas of the world until we really know who those people are. And then we kind of get bored of them. But I think they all have. I think they all have a chance to. I think they all have a chance to be on the Valley. Now there's a lot of talk about spin-offs. There's a lot of talk about